Ipinanganak si Antonio Sani Trillanes noong August 6, 1971 sa lungsod ng Caloocan. Kumuha ng Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Computer Engineering sa De La Salle University. Taong 1995 na magtapos siya bilang cum laude sa kursong BS Naval System Engineering sa Philippine Military Academy. Kumuha rin siya ng Master's Degree in Public Administration sa University of the Philippines, Diliman. Una siyang nagsilbi bilang Navy Lieutenant Senior Grade noong 1995. Naging matunog ang kanyang pangalan. Nang pangunahan niya ang pag-aklas ng may 321 na sundalong na nawagan para sa reforma sa hukbong sandatahan at pagbibitiw ni dating Pangulong Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Matapos ang Oakwood Mutiny, tumakbo siya sa pagkasenador noong 2007 bilang independent at nanalo sa kabila ng pagkakulong sa kasong kudeta. Taong 2010, nang bigyan siya ng amnestiya ni Pangulong Benigno Aquino. Ilan sa mga naipasa niyang batas ay ang Respiratory Therapy Act of 2009 at immediate release of retirement benefits para sa mga kawani ng gobyerno. Ang aplikante sa pagkasenador mula sa Nacionalista Party, Antonio Sani Trillanes IV.
Makakasama rin natin ngayong gabi ang editorial board chairman ng Business World na si Vergel Santos at ang legal consultant ng TV5 na si Attorney Mel Santamaria. Unang tanong po sa inyo, Senator Trillanes. Hanggang ngayon po ay wala pa rin talagang linaw kung ano nga po ba ang naging pakay ninyo sa inyong pagtungo sa China noong pong kasagsagan po nitong iringan ng Pilipinas at ng China over the Scarborough Shoal, no? Ano nga po ba ang ginagawa nyo doon? Ba't ho kayo tumungo ron?
Nagkaroon po kami ng isang meeting, meeting with the Executive Secretary. Iba hong issue, among the issues na napag-usapan, yun lang hong rising tension sa Scarborough. At nasabi niya, baka pwede kang makatulong kung meron kang linya sa China, sa Beijing government. So sabi ko, I will try kasi the year before, nagkaroon po ako ng study visit doon at I was able to communicate with senior officials of the Chinese government. So doon po nagsimula yon. Nung nagpasabi po tayo dun sa mga nakausap natin na nagpapa-ano ho tayo ng back channel, willing to engage the government through a back channel, nagkaroon po ng meeting of the minds kasi sila rin pala gusto nila they were looking for a channel also. So doon po nangyari yon. Kasi nung nagkaroon po ng impasse dun sa formal channels at wala na hindi na nagmo-move, nagkaroon ng stalemate. At nung mga panahon na yon, doon po sa Scarborough ay dumami na po yung mga barko ng Chino at nung sa atin nagigirian na. At very tense po. I can imagine, I used to be with the Navy, at konting initan lang ho dyan. Pag nagkaputukan, napaka-massive po ang repercussions nun. So, ganun po ang situation noong time na yon. So, I was given instructions by the President. Tinanong ko, ito na, ready na yung back channel, ano yung mensahe natin. Nagbigay siya ng mga mensahe natin. So, yun po, that's the start. So for 3 to 4 months ang engagement ho doon until ultimately humupa na po yung tension na wala na po yung mga barko. At ngayon from almost 100 ships po doon in and around the Scarborough Shoal, ngayon ho I think 3 na lang pero malayo na ho doon sa Scarborough.
Pero ang nangyari po noon ay nagkaroon po ng parang kumbaga naging salungat ang naging posisyon ninyo at posisyon ng gobyerno no na kinakatawan at that time of course si DFA Secretary Alberto Del Rosario no at parang hindi po nagkakasundo sa polisiya at nung panahon din yun parang medyo yung Malacanang nagha-hands off tungkol sa pagtatalaga daw sa inyo at meron pa pong pagbubunyag na ginawa si Senate President Enrile no yun daw pong notes ni Ambassador Brady no.
So, ano po yan, that's the propaganda part. Kasi wala naman hong conflict sa policy dahil presidente mismo yung nagpadala sa akin. So, there cannot be any conflict dahil the president is the sole source of foreign policy natin. Noong nagkakaroon ng stalemate and impasse dun sa Foreign Affairs Secretary, kailangan natin ma-resolve through a back channel.
Siguro po ang isang tanong dyan, Senator, kayo ay kabilang sa Senado na talagang hiwalay sa Eksekutibo. Ang Executive ay talagang ang salarangan ng Foreign Affairs, sila ang premier dyan. Pero humingi ba ho kayo ng pahintulot kay Senator Enrile?
Hindi ko kailangan humingi ng tulong, ng pahintulot, dahil ganito po yan. While I agree we have three branches of government, yung system of checks and balances. But when in matters of foreign policy, everybody unites behind the President. In the same way nang sa United States, nagpadala sila ng back channel sa Pilipinas. I think it's Senator Laxalt or yung nagpasabi kay President Marcos. So ganun po yan. Nagkakaroon po ng ganyang dynamics. Ang bottom line ho nito is ma-pursue yung interest na ating bayan. Kaya hindi ho nagdi-discriminate. Any citizen of the Republic can be a representative of the President through a back channel talks.
Are you saying that he was trusting you more than Foreign Secretary Del Rosario?
Not necessarily trusting more, but since Secretary Del Rosario represents the formal channel, hindi siya pwede nang mag-back channel. It has to be someone else. Incidental lang po yung sa aking pagpili. Ngayon, going back ko dun sa sinasabing nag-hands off, hindi ho, publicly, in-acknowledge po ng Presidente yung na I was authorized to do back channel talks, at he acknowledged also the accomplishments and the gains that we made nung mga nag-uusap na yun. At ang sa akin lang ho, yung sa Brady Notes naman, yung Brady Notes ho, briefing documents ho yun kay Ambassador Brady. Ako ho, kaming dalawa lang ni Ambassador Brady nag-uusap. Wala hong Chinese officials doon. The way it was exposed by Senator Enrile, it's as though nag-take down ng notes si Ambassador Brady while I was talking to the Chinese. No, that was never the case. Ambassador Brady was never present in any of the meetings because she was just assigned nung patapos na po ako. August lang siya pumasok. I was doing the talks from May to July.
Except that yung mga pinahayag ninyo kay Ambassador Brady ay masyadong nalalagay sa panganib din ang diplomatic position ng bansa, Ang dami niyong mga sinabi doon. Halimbawa na lang na sinabi niyo raw doon sa notes ninyo na hindi naman talaga pinapansin yung Scarborough Shoal dito sa Pilipinas. Tsaka wala naman talagang kakayahan ng mga Pilipino. At, so kumbaga, taliwas na taliwas ito sa opisyal na pinapahayag natin, lalo na't kaharap ang isang bansang banyaga na
yun na nga po
kalaban.
Una-una, hindi ko po sinabi yan sa harap ng
So, dinideny niyo po yan?
Hindi ho. That's the truth. So,
yung Brady Notes ni Senate President Enrile, mali yun?
Hindi ho. Totoo yun. Pero yung context, mali yung pag-present niya. Ang totoo nun, si Ambassador Brady, binibrief ko siya. And the consul was taking down notes. Kami po yan. Dinownload ko lahat ho, yung kung ano nangyari dun sa back channel talks. Everything. Sinabi ko sa kanya. Tapos, kasi siya na ang magiging ambassador Siya na yung ambassador doon. So, she needed to know lahat ng background, And nung time na yun, nung nag-back channel ako, wala namang ambassador doon So, I cannot coordinate with anybody. So, ngayon, nung nagkaroon ng ambassador na, brief ko siya. Tapos, itong documents na to are supposed to be secret and confidential for the eyes only of our country, our foreign affairs officials. Ngayon, in-expose ni Senator Enrile. Hindi nga Kaya nga sinasabi ko, yung konteksto, even yung sinasabing walang pakialam, yun yung sinabi ni Senator Enrile. Pinabasa ho ba niya sa inyo yung dokumento? Hindi. Yun yung ad-lib niya na ho yun. That was his interpretation. Pero totoo niyan, ang nag-uusap kami ni Ambassador Brady, sabi ko, we need to resolve this. The instructions of the President was to de-escalate the situation dahil tinatamaan tayo more than tinatamaan sila. Dahil sa kanila nung time ng mainit yung tension, yung mga kababayan natin doon sa China, nararamdaman na yung harassment, Pero dito sa Pilipinas, business as usual. We don't discriminate against the Chinese visitors here, tourists here. But doon nararamdaman nila. Yun po ang konteksto nun. They are more passionate about the issue than us.
Ang sinasabi niyo ba, Senator, na itong issue ng Scarborough, hindi dapat humantong sa ganitong klaseng perception na controversial?
Yung sa ginawa ho ni Senator Enrile, actually that's a crime, ano? Sa crime, it's a crime. Dapat niya binibita yung mga ganon.
Yung pagbunyag.
Oho, kasi ano yan it exposes yung position natin. Kaming dalawa ni Ambassador Brady nag-uusap doon. Tinake down ng notes, pinadala sa Foreign Affairs kay Secretary De Rosario. Si Secretary De Rosario ang nagbigay kay Senator Enrile, which is again another crime. So, yun ho ang kwan dito. The way it was presented, di ba hinahamon ko siya Sige nga, palabas mo yung Brady notes. Kasi binabasa niya Nag-a-adlib na siya ron, nag-interpret siya out of context. Yun po ang delikado doon.
Mr. Senator, what do you think is the best that we can get out of this relationship with the Chinese of Scarborough?
It's always a principle of reciprocity in any foreign relations policy. It's about that. We protect our interests. In this case, we are protecting our sovereignty and our territorial integrity. So it should remain as that. But we cannot resolve it by merely insisting on it, because they will likewise insist on it. We can have it remain dormant for the time being, because at that time, I remember I was in the Navy, we were able to optimize the resources there. There were no Chinese vessels around, and we're getting the most out of that area. In fact, all of the resources there, because we were apprehending Chinese vessels then. But because of this new policy of making it or of sensationalizing it, now we cannot even go there.
Okay, unang bugso po lamang po yan ng mga tanungan sa aming pagbabalik. Plataporma naman ni Senador Trillanes ang ating aalamin. Nagbabalik po ang reaksyon at kasama pa rin natin ang aplikante na si Senador Trillanes. Senator, kayo po ay nakatatlong taon na, no? Nabitin kayo kasi nakakulong nga kayo nung first part of your term. Ano ang mga ipipursue ninyo ngayon kung kayo po ay ma-re-elect sa Senado?
Ipagpapatuloy lang po natin yung mga hindi natin natapos. So, andun pa rin yung AFP-PNP reforms, andyan pa rin po yung anti-corruption and governance reforms. Pero nag-branch out na rin tayo in other areas of governance like education, healthcare, even energy. So, ngayon gusto natin masakop na rin even iba't ibang area ng governance.
Mr. Senator, I'd like to go to another issue. One of the last most exciting scenes in the Senate had you calling for fiscal propriety because of the apparently unequal distribution of funds in the Senate. I wonder, where do you draw the line of fiscal propriety? Is it in the equal or fair distribution of allotments, or are you opposed at all to pork barrel and any of that sort?
Okay. First of all, I didn't complain about the fiscal impropriety. What I complained about later on was the potential for corruption because of the discretionary powers of the Senate President. Because what the media saw was the unequal distribution. But what I saw was the discretionary powers of the Senate President over almost 500 million pesos. And it remains unaccounted for. So that was the bigger issue that was apparently glossed over because of this uneven distribution. I never complained that I got 250 because I presumed that everybody got the same and it was regular. But when I found out that the others got more, I didn't complain also because that's the price you have to pay for standing up against an abusive Senate President. So that's
but don't you think the Senate is overfunded given the functions of the Senate? And what is your stand on pork barrel?
Pork barrel, if there will be, if they will remove the pork barrel system, then I'm all for that. But for as long as it is allowed, I will try to optimize its use by giving it to sectors where they are needed. In my case, we have posted everything, every single allocation in our website, and it's centered or more on assistance to indigent patients, to all the public hospitals all over the country, and scholarships for state universities and colleges.
Paano nyo ipapaliwanag yung ulat na nilabas ng Commission on Audit na kayo po ay top spender sa Senado, no?
Again, na-debunk na po yan. That's the propaganda. APR po yan. Nilabas po ng COA yung true list at si Senator Enrile po nasa number 1. And almost half lang kami. Ano? So, ang pangalawa doon, si Senator Estrada, sila. So, yun nga ho, no? Magaling eh. They're funding heavily on the black propaganda campaign.
So you're saying it's not true, yung 55 million spending mo, compared to an average of 40 million for the senators?
No.
This is a COA report.
Yes. The COA report, hindi ho ako yung top. Ang top po si Senator Enrile, which is almost more than 100 million. Tapos 60 million doon, MOOE, certification lang. So dapat doon ang scrutiny. Di ba? Kasi sa akin, ganito, COA audited my expenses or the other senators' expenses, and wala silang nakitang anomaly enough for them to say that I misspent the government funds. Hindi ho. Lahat po kasi kami pare-parehas ang pondo. Wala hong papayag na senador na ako, yung bagitong senador, mas malaki pondo. Hindi ho. Mas malaki lang yung na-subject sa COA audit. Ibig sabihin nun, yung sa kanila, yung balance, for example, yung iba 40 million, sa akin 50 million. Yung 10 million, ibig sabihin nun, na-realign po yan as MOOE na beyond the auditing authority of COA. So yun ang tanong ho doon, saan napunta yung 10 million na discrepancy? Hindi ho sinuli yan sa National Treasury. MOOE po yan. So pare-pares po kaming ginastos.
Given your Oakwood background, I would imagine you have a certain sympathy towards whistleblowers. Di ba? But it seems to me na mas kawawa ang whistleblowers ngayon. Nakita lang natin si Jun Losada dinala sa korte. Walang nangyayari kay Rabusa. In fact, yung case niya, na-dismiss yung call.
Kaso lang
ano mangyayari sa whistleblowers natin ngayon kung ganyan lang? I mean, it seems to me na nadi-discourage ang whistleblowing. What do you think of this trend?
We pushed but failed to pass this whistleblowers bill into law. It's supposed to protect and give incentives to whistleblowers and to encourage them to report anomalous acts. Pero it's going against the culture. For example, from where I came from, the armed forces, talagang pag makakita kang may ginagawang mali yung commander mo, talagang the instinct is to just look the other way and to presume the best that it's part of the mission or whatever. So ganun po ang.
So what do we do if it's a problem of culture?
Well, we have to pass this bill.
Senator, yung RH bill, you were against it.
Yes, sir.
But di ba in the end, when things were sorted out, you decided to go along? Or did you, up to the end, stand against it?
I opposed it.
What precisely is your?
Because I was asking the proponents, the sponsors of the bill, to remove the provision for sex education starting grade 6 because it's really unnecessary. I believe that the state at that very fertile age should not get into or should not intervene. It should be left unto the parents at least until they reach 4th year high school. It may cause more damage than we wish to solve. So that's what I was asking them to change, to amend from grade 6 to make it to 4th year because I told the sponsors, this is a deal breaker for me. If this is not going to be amended, then
That was your point of opposition.
Yes, sir.
What did you bring to your argument? Say psychological studies or anything like that?
Instinct as a father.
Just instinct.
As a father, I've seen my child during those ages, and I'm not going to be comfortable having her being subjected to a sex education class by teachers who may not be prepared to teach such a sensitive subject.
Although you are, of course, aware of overwhelming opposite instincts as well.
Probably, yes, sir. But when I consulted with the parents, 9 out of 10 are against it. They don't want. And I've seen the public.
Is this a survey? 9 out of 10 or anything?
No, it's something informal that
I see.
when I asked them, are you in favor of this? Nobody would even raise their hand. And, but I've seen the public school system also, and the plan was to give this task to our public school teachers who are already overburdened by lack of classrooms, lack of books.
Although standard surveys have shown that there is an overwhelming approval for
the
RH bill as a whole.
Probably, sir. But I was looking at the
That
bill
particular point.
per provision. We have to scrutinize it per provision because such provisions may be harmful to society.
So pag tinanggal yung puntong yun, you would have voted for RH bill? Is that what you're saying? So in principle, you agree with the necessity for a reproductive health?
Yes, I believe it would make the bill less harmful. And the next contentious provision that I was raising was the funding requirements. Because the funding requirements would amount to at least 10 billion pesos that they would devote just for funding contraceptive requirements. So in essence, the taxpayers would be subsidizing your contraceptive needs. And I don't think that's a sound policy. So that's one of the things I was questioning. So I proposed that instead of pouring such huge amount to procurement of contraceptives, why not pour it into the general healthcare through public hospitals?
Senator,
Yes.
si Presidente Aquino, ipinahiwatig niya na hindi siya tutol sa right of reply sa FOI bill. Ano ang position niyo dyan?
I am opposed that right of reply provision to be inserted in any FOI bill because that will be the start of the curtailment of the freedom of the press.